Oops, I totally forgot Discord. Whoopsie. Well, we'll let that boot up, and then I will pull everything over. So, hello everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is, what is today? It is November 6th, and this is the November 6th Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be I think we're going to keep it a little shorter, around an hour probably. And we're going to be focusing on code optimization. I was hoping to get some audio work done today, but I'm currently learning the workflow for that, and I am nowhere near ready to do that on stream. I had considered doing it in like just me learning, doing that as a stream, but I don't like doing that. I feel like that's always a bad way to do things. So, a couple of things. Make sure that works still. Cool. So, first things first, we're going to be doing code optimizations today, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up code. The first thing I want to do is I want to rework how TQ-word is handled a little bit. Now, TQ-word is my data class for every word that the parser understands. Basically, when I import data, I create a list of TQ words that have information on things like, what the actual string is, what type of word it is, whether it's a noun or a verb or a preposition, whatever. Verb type, synonyms, preposition type, all this stuff. So that's kind of a basic rundown of TQ word. And what we're going to do is we're just going to optimize how some of this is interacted with through the parser. Because this was one of the earliest things that I wrote, and therefore it's terrible. Welcome back, Palm Tree Llama. How are you doing tonight? And I guess I'll go ahead and read that out loud. So that's what? Skedaddle, skedoodle. All right. So first things first, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Close this. I don't really need these. Close this. Close this. And we'll keep some of these open for now. I can close you though. I'm gonna grab the parser. We're gonna come over to here. And you can see here, this is particularly the chunk of code that I'm talking about. So when we look through our input, or when we receive our input, basically what we do is we separate the input string, which is just one string, into separate strings that are separated by spaces. So when you type the phrase "eat the apple," we have a space between "eat" and "the." We have a space between "the" and "apple," and basically what that comes in as is one string gets split up into three strings in an array. Then that gets passed to the parser proper. I'm not gonna keep reading them, but you're doing pretty well so far. That's 2 for 2 in terms of rhyming. But let's see how long you can keep that up. I'm curious. um, Anywho, let's see here. I suppose I should probably do .toString here. I don't know why that wasn't done. All right. It's supposed to be another word. What do you mean? Ah. Okay. So let's see. So currently, the way that it works, when it's grabbing words, it will basically take a copy of the word and then pass along its forced to lower version, which works but is not exactly ideal. So let's see here. This is also going to be fun because I'm kind of going through and doing this, relearning this as I go. But the point is that this type of interaction where we kind of just where we take a string, that's not too bad. It's actually how we retrieve TQ words that uh, kind of makes me unhappy. Because essentially what we do is we actually um, return a copy of the original TQ word, and I think I did that because I was affecting the original dictionary when I was doing comparisons, but I don't think we really need to do that. So I think we can return the actual TQ word here instead of making a copy. And the benefit of that is that it means that when we grab our TQ words, I'll no longer be generating a bunch of new objects basically every time you enter a string. Instead, we'll just be able to return existing objects and then use those as we would see fit. Um, so we grab our TQ word, and then we go ahead and convert it to a to lower, and then we add that to the TQ input, which is our list of words. Now at the very end here, we go to set multiple sentences. Let's go to definition. Then from here, we actually loop through our sentence to make sure everything's valid. Um, but what I would like to do is just see how I'm handling our words. Because I believe it's going to, at some point, try to change the word itself, and that's where we get our problem. Admittedly, today is going to be a little bit of a search and destroy type mission where we kind of dig through my old code, which is never fun, but hopefully it won't be too tedious for us. Actually, I'm going to come back up to here. So we have sentence. Let's see what happens here. Count sentence.word. You used that in a way that I do not understand. Which is actually kind of funny because that means it's going to return it in a way that's not really expected, but that kind of makes sense. Okay. Oh, is that really it? Set joint words. We're going to look through here. Joint words dot count. Joint words. Word dot equals. We do our ordinal ignore case. That's what we want. Here we are. We're getting new words. This is our compound words, so things like pick up, which are not technically compound words, but I do not have a good description for them, admittedly. So we get, I guess I call them joint words, where, wow, really? Ugh, that is not the best. But I guess that's kind of how that's going to work. Ugh. We pass in a newly constructed string, which is not great. I kind of wonder if it would be. Let me think. How do I want to handle this? It might be better if instead of passing in a string that I construct here, if I could get a compound word by passing in the various words that make it up. That might make more sense, because then I don't have to create a new string. So let's go ahead and say public TQ word get word. Actually, I guess I'll call this get joint word. We'll say string first word, string second word. And this is going to change a little bit how TQ word actually works, in that I will now need, let's see. So if it's a joint word, that goes into word type, I believe, because we can have, actually no, it doesn't because it's irrelevant. How do I want to do this? Determiner type, joint word type, here we are. So I can say has pair or uses direction. So has pair means that it's part of a it's basically a set of two words in that it has a pair. So turn on in this case is the example. Um, well, so something I could do is essentially do like this: public string joint word A is equal to whatever, and then public string joint word B is equal to whatever. And then this can actually be, these two values can be parsed based on the value of the word itself. And that would automatically happen whenever I basically create this word, whenever I parse it. It's doable. Man, that is not ideal though. I would prefer that it be automated like this, but um, it should be fine. All right. So what we can do here is we can come down here and we can say joint word A is equal to word dot joint word A joint word B is equal to word dot joint word B. I'm actually also going to go ahead and pull up my drive folder for this so I can see what my structure is. That'll help me remember how I did this. It's been a while since I looked at the dictionary. Design, I'm pretty sure. And then dictionary. All right. So no, not joint words. Let's look at. There should be. Here we are. Dropkick. So you can see that dropkick does not have a joint word type or anything like that, and that's because it itself is not a joint word, or it does not have a pair. Rather, it is the word. So we need to basically, I guess, just check at parse time if word has a space. And if it does, then we separate it into its constituent parts and we assign it here. Not ideal, but it works. So we're going to go ahead and come down to here. I guess I can do that right there. I'm going to also go ahead and comment this so that I can more easily see it. And actually, while I'm looking at it, I suppose I should just go ahead and use tooltips on this, because that'll make things look a little bit nicer. Things that are marked with this bitmask attribute, I can't actually use a tooltip on because the bitmask attribute will override that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do summaries for that. So we'll say determines the type of the word. That's not particularly great. Or rather, determines how the parser handles the word. I really wish I didn't have to duplicate my writings like this, but the problem is that if I don't use the XML markup here, then I won't get hover tips, which is a little annoying because having the tooltip on there does not actually do anything for you in terms of highlighting, or not highlighting, but context hinting. So let's see, we're going to come down to here. Determines how parser, well, actually no, determines how objects react to the word as a verb. Okay. Let's see. List of words that are synonyms of this word. Oops, that's not going to work now, is it? Tooltip. Da, 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 da. Let's go ahead and just copy that. So currently what I'm doing is not really going to optimize the code. It's not going to hurt it either. But it is going to give me a little bit of an easier time in the inspector when I'm looking at these things. And that's kind of my goal here. Just kind of updating it to make it a little nicer to work with in the long run. Determines how the word is used as a preposition. Okay. Command type, I believe, just specifies if it is a cheat code or what it does specifically. So we're just going to say special special flag. The parser will no. Let's say determines if the parser uses this word as a special action. Instead of as, let's say to perform a special action. That's better. Tooltip that. Paste that in. Set these up a little bit better. All right. Direction type is just going to be determines if the word has any direction associated with it. Determiner type, I believe, just determines how many of a thing it specifies. Jeez. So determiners are an actual part of language, and they're basically things like when you say drop all keys. All is a determiner that means every key you have. Determines quantity of specified action, I guess. Or objects, i.e. drop all keys. Also, thank you for the cheer, Palm Tree. That does seem like good sound advice. I'm definitely going to say that. You probably don't want to do that. Alright, let's go ahead and copy this. Tooltip. Alright. Oh, right. Yeah, that's going to go a little nuts here. Let's do that. Alright. Joint word type. Determines if the word has a pairing with another word, i.e. pick and up. Stop it. Pick and up. Make pick up. Why can't I type up? God, that was so hard for some reason. Alright, joint words are just words. This word can be paired with to make a new word. copy that. All right. Finally. Let's just copy this. All right. The word is hidden. The word is hidden. And let's go ahead and copy this. Okay. The first word of this words. The first word. Jeez. I believe, I guess I would say, the first word of this word. No. The first word. God, how am I going to say it? It's like, if there are two words, it's the first word in the pair. The first word in a pair of words that make up this word, i.e., pick up, i.e., pick in, pick up. Okay. And I'm actually going to make this be hidden. Ooh, hold on. Hidden. I'm not going to hide it in the inspector, but I don't want to really look at it for the most part because it's not really relevant. And this is going to be the second word in a pair of words that make up this word, i.e. up in pick up. Okay. From here, we're going to go down to here. And we're going to say if word dot contains. Can I say, is there anything about white space? Nope. So I guess we'll say not has, dot contains. So if it contains a space, then we're going to go ahead and say string words is equal to word dot split. Yep, stop it. Split with that. And then we're going to go ahead and say if words dot length is greater than 1, which means that it has 2 at least, then we're going to go ahead and say joint word A is equal to words of, not I, of 0, and joint word B is equal to words of 1. Okay. That should work there. And that's pretty much all I need to do. So we're going to do the exact same thing down here in JSON. Same thing. That should populate everything and make it work as we would expect. Everything else seems to be fine. Cool. So we're going to come back to here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to, for the time being, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to return a duplicate. And we're just going to say if words of I taught, you know what? Do I have anything that marks this as a special? Nope. Cool. Wow, that's really annoying. I suppose the easiest thing to do would just simply be to say if words of I dot joint word A. I'm just going to go ahead and say string dot is null or empty, blah, blah, blah. So if joint word A is null or empty, then that means that it's not a joint word. It's just a regular old word. So we can go ahead and say continue. We can skip through that. We don't have to do everything else. Otherwise, we're going to say if word dot joint word A equals first word, and then I'm basically going to copy this, and then we're going to say and word B is equal to second word. Okay, then we should be able to get that. So we'll say returns a joint word made up of the divided words if it exists. The first. I'm actually just going to go ahead and cheat and copy this from up here. So we're just going to say copy this description. Second, i.e. Okay, so that should be a little bit easier now in my coding endeavors. Okay, so let's go back here to Parser. We're going to change this around. So instead of this, it's going to be tq word new word is equal to dictionary, capital D, dictionary dot get word. Oh, sorry, not get word. Get joint word sentence of I dot word followed by sentence of J dot word. And that should behave basically the same. Except now I'm not creating a brand new string. Whenever I look for that, I am now just passing in existing strings. So that should hopefully reduce garbage. Let's see back here. So I suppose, oh dear. Yeah, okay. I suppose we could do that. Unit testing, huh? It could be interesting for us to experiment with. This would be a good time for me to do that, I suppose. So recently at work, I have been getting into unit testing because it's something that I've kind of avoided for most of my game development experience. But it would probably be good for me to have that because, as I've said multiple times in the past, um, whenever I try to test something and I want to see if it works, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Whenever I make adjustments to my parser, I always freak out that I've broken something. So, unit tests would take away from that fear. Um, and so I think it would probably be a good idea for me to actually have testing in here. So I'm going to go ahead and come up here to TextQuest. I'm going to right click create folder. We're going to call this unit tests. Create folder editor. I don't actually know if I have create testing. Okay, nope. Cool. So let's go ahead and say create testing, edit mode test. And I'm just going to call this parser editor test. Oh man, why? That's not even really going to be of the parser, honestly, but whatever. That'll work. So we're just going to write some small tests here to kind of see if things work the way we would expect. So first things first, let's go namespace, sleepyowl.textquest. Okay, come down to here. And here's where things get a little fuzzy. So if parser, I believe, is... So if it has no dictionary, which it's static, so it will lose that every time it recompiles, it tries to get it from Game Manager. should be fine as long as I'm working inside splash fade, because then it won't have to instantiate it, so we should be good. So let's go back down to here. And all I'm going to do is just see if I can get a joint word, and it will give us the word that we would expect. So let's go ahead and say test. We're going to change this to get joint word test. I don't need to use the author one because, it's me. And instead, I am going to use description. Oops. Okay, description. There we go. We're going to see test if the parser dictionary returns a joint word as expected. All right, and all we're going to do here is simply say, let's go up to here. So I'm going to say this isn't static, yeah. So I basically have to go TQ dictionary is equal to parser dot dictionary, and then we're just going to say oh man, trying to think of a way I could actually do this. There are multiple dictionaries, and I only want to use one of them. And I would prefer not to risk spawning this in, honestly. So, oh boy. This is going to get messy. Oh, yeah. Wow, this is going to suck really hard. Okay. So, we're going to do something that I kind of showed off when we were making builds on Thursday last week, right? Pretty sure it was Thursday. Anyway, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of going through a singleton like parser, which isn't really a singleton, it's actually a static class with a static reference to something that is a singleton, I'm manually going to search through my project to find this thing that I want. So we're going to go ahead and say private static TQ dictionary. Dictionary instance. And then we're going to come down here, private static TQ dictionary instance. Get. Oops. We will return dictionary instance. We're just going to say if dictionary instance is equal to null. And here is where things can get a little iffy. I'm going to go ahead and let that compile, and then I'm going to look for T:(TQ dictionary, because I have two. I have a custom one, and I have a regular one. So what I want to do is I want to basically do this. String paths is equal to asset database dot find assets T:(TQ dictionary. And then we're going to say if paths dot length is greater than 0. We're going to say, what do I want to do here? We're going to say, yeah, this is not going to be fun. Okay. I really don't want to do this. Okay. Thinking of a way to parse between the two of those, because I need both of those dictionaries. So what I'm going to want to do is essentially say, yeah, sure, why not? TQ dictionary is equal to asset database dot load asset at path TQ dictionary, followed by asset database dot GUID to asset path paths of I, which I totally forgot the for loop part of this. Whoops. So we'll do that. And I'm just going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than paths.length, I plus plus. Okay, let's go through here. We're going to grab this, paste that in there. And all I'm going to say is if dictionary, oh my god, I really don't want to do this. Dictionary.name dot contains custom. So if not that, then we will break out and we will say dictionary instance is equal to dictionary with a lowercase d. Okay, so that should deal with that. So now I don't have to do this anymore. I can just say dictionary instance. And then that lets me say if dictionary instance is equal to null, I can say assert. Can I ignore, actually? Cool, I can. And the message will be no dictionary found. Okay. Otherwise, and actually I can probably reduce that to one line. Otherwise, all I'm going to do is say assert dot r equal, and we're just going to say dictionary instance dot get joint word followed by pick and then up. And actually, while we're in here, let's go look at pick up here. Pick up, cool. Making sure that the up was capitalized. So we're going to say get joint word. Actually, I can just say not null, right? I'm pretty sure it's not is not null. Verifies that an object that is passed in is not equal to null. If the object is null, verifies that the object passed in is not equal to null. These are the exact same thing. Why the heck? What's the difference? Whatever. So if it's not null, then that means nothing actually, because peak definition here. Oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, it'll return null. Okay. So let's test that. I'm actually kind of curious. Oh, also, I've learned this. I'm gonna go to Edit, Project Settings, Editor. I did not remember seeing this before, but I can make this be Windows. That's kind of cool. So we're gonna do that. Also, why is etc texture compressor set to legacy? Huh. Oh, I've got a lot of old stuff in here. That will probably mess with my project, so I will come back to do this. Okay. Let's go ahead and save. And we're going to go ahead and go back to here. Actually, we're not going to do that. We're instead going to go up to Window, Test Runner. Let's go ahead and dock that over here. Oh. Interesting. Why have you not shown up? I am not. Did I call it examine tests? No. Interesting. I guess parser tests wherever this is. Where are you? Oh dear. Yeah, okay. Huh. Well, this is interesting. I'm not entirely sure why this is showing up and my other one is not. Because for all intents and purposes, this should be a valid test. How curious. And unit framework. Huh. Yeah, interesting. Maybe it has to be namespaced or put in there. I suppose that kind of works. I'm going to actually. Let's see. One, is this doing anything? No, so I can delete it. And then I'm going to make a new assembly definition file. Maybe it has to be assembly definitioned if it's going to work like that. I suppose that kind of makes sense. Oh yeah, that totally makes sense because this would be grouped in with, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So we'll let that compile, and then I'm going to come down here. These should all go away, and then I'm going to make a new unit test assembly definition file. Assuming that it lets me actually get around to it. Fly. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and right-click, create assembly definition. I'm just going to call this sleepyowl.textquest. Not editor, dot unit tests. Okay. So we're going to make this not work for any platform. We will deselect all. It will only work in the editor. Let's go ahead and assign this. This is going to be our text quest one. I might as well also assign our editor functionality. I don't really think I need it, but we'll do that anyway. Let's go ahead and apply. All right. It's probably going to... Oh dear. Yeah, it's going to break all that. Okay. So we'll let that go. Let's open this back up. This is probably going to slowly unload and reload all of my modules, but then I should be able to actually edit this. So that'll be good. Oh, cool. And while that's going on, I'm going to take a drink. Ah, yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and add cpl.common. Let's also add cpl.common editor. Let's try that. That should be a little better, I'm hoping. Although I'm not entirely sure why it was doing ICSV serializable, like why that was a problem. Let's find out. One day I'll be able to run unit tests successfully. Won't that be nice? You can do it, Unity. I have faith in you. Aha! Cool. And now I can actually clear this. And look at that. It's right there. Oh, it failed. Expected not null, but was null. Cool. 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 So get joint word does not work. Which makes sense because I have not updated the words. So I need to go to the dictionary. Dictionary. Right there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at this. 7, 10, 21, and 21. Update that. Cool. That good. So let's go ahead and clear that. And now if I run this test, ta-da! I don't know why I said pada instead of ta-da, but so cool. So that's working. It's also nice because it's actually finding my dictionary as I expected. So that works. Cool. So that means that it is actually retrieving our joint word, which means that the parser should be fine in theory. But let's see. So we've removed one whole string generation, or one whole new string generation from the mix, which is not much, admittedly, but it is useful. Let's see. Is there anything else I can do here? Validating sentence, validate, speak, output word type, nouns, contain set verb, speak, verbs, validate conversation, set terminer, set quantity, word.toInt, of course, and set direction, sentence.direction.word. Let's see here. Sentence direct objects to array, which is not actually great because that's going to create a whole new array. It would be much better if I could just pass that in. So let's go ahead and actually go to set direct objects. And I'm going to just add, oh, look at that. So let's find all references here. So I'm pretty sure just confirm or get rid of this to array stuff right there. All right, that's working pretty well. That's working pretty well. Cache objects, not to array. Interacting objects. All we care about is the to array stuff. Cool. So now we should be able to go back up to here. This is about where we were. So we no longer are creating arrays whenever we do that. So that's good. And let's see, output sentences, verb types, output result. I did not understand that sentence. Peak output result. It's all fun. Let's see here. Output sentences, direct objects, name. Set parser, set joint words. Let's see. For each string in joint words. As I get joint word, I could. Yeah, that's not really ideal. Now, is it? I don't like doing for each loops inside of for loops inside of for loops. I could probably make that a for loop, at least to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, paste that down here, and we're just going to say for, I will say int k equals 0, k is less than, joint words dot count, k plus plus, and then we'll just say sentence of I dot joint words of k. Yes, that should be good. Yes, that is, ugh. That is not ideal. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out for now. All right. We're doing good so far. Validate sentence. Set verb. I really should have written a testing parser, honestly. Like the fact that this is going to be doing this is testing the parser out on any way, shape, or form is going to be a nightmare. Validate conversation. Set determiner. That's all fine. Set quantity. Set direction. Direct object adjectives. Oh my goodness. Yep. Wow. All kinds of problems here. All kinds of problems. All kinds of problems. Let's see here. Append. Wow. Get shared name. Append. Oh my goodness. That is not ideal. But then again, I guess appending is not so bad. At least this is all string builder stuff. Still though, far from ideal. Um, let's see. Output.string. That's all good. I don't see any. Okay, possible ones. Sentence nouns, possible nouns. Add words contains possible nouns. Sentences. Word type. Sentences. I think. Actually our best bet to find some optimization and have dictionary return not a copy but the regular object itself is just to see where word is used, or rather where it's assigned to. Because if it's used, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. The problem is if it's also, I bet I could make this be a struct instead of a class, and that would help. But well, for now, let's go ahead and come up here. We're going to see where word is used. So find all references. This is going to be a lot, by the way, but specifically all we care about are these things. Word, 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 interactive objects. We just want to see wherever word is equal to something. Word, 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 word. Here we are. Right. Interesting. So maybe it's just this. But why do we care if it's too lower? My assumption would be that it's the same. My assumption would be that it's because we wanted to compare them with two lower. That was before I knew about the ordinal ignore case, I'm guessing. Um, hmm. Because you'll notice that we're already calling two lower on everything whenever we output it. And that makes sense because we would just be outputting the lowercase version of it. I'm not entirely sure if we need this anymore, honestly. It very easily could just be that we don't really need to convert this to lower. Um, and if that's the case, then I think I could get rid of this line. Let's go back over to here. Go to definition. And then instead of saying new word is equal to new TQ word, I can just straight up say it's equal to words of I. All right. And Same thing here. Words of I with pretty much everything else is working as we would expect. So let's try that. Let's just kind of plop into an examine, or let's plop into a scene and just try typing in some stuff and see if it messes with any of the words that we have currently. And if it doesn't, then hooray! We no longer need to worry about it. So let's go ahead and clear this. Don't worry about the test runner for now. I'm not too worried about messing up my dictionary anyway because, well, I can reparse it. That's not going to be much of an issue. So we're just going to jump in. We'll get to, I'm going to say, we'll just jump into the castle level, I guess. And then I'll interact with the painting and just see what I can do. Assuming that the game wants to load, of course. Can't be too hasty. Can't force it, Okay, so let's go to new game. Lovely. Ooh, that is quite the level lag. Ugh. Not exactly ideal. Oh, this will also give me a chance to confirm that all of our textures are behaving as expected. By the way, keep your eye on these shadows at the top right. Boom. So everything looks nice. Let's go ahead and come up to here. And we're just going to say, like, pick up. Okay. Let's go ahead and examine the dictionary. Let's go to words. It is unfortunate. Oh my goodness, I really should write a custom inspector for this that will, like, show everything by letter grouping instead. That would make things so much easier. So let's go to pick up. Shoot. So you can see that pick here has a lowercase p now. So that is not okay. Let's go ahead and stop this. And that's permanent, by the way, because it's a dictionary, or it's a serialized object. So, problem. That means that we were getting something else. So I'm going to go ahead and say f dot word is equal. Let's find all references to this. Jumble data, which we don't need. Word check, which we don't need. Input suggestion, which we don't need. Curious. Something has to be setting that to lower. How about we try this? Dot word dot to lower. Find all. Word dot to lower. Well, we can get rid of these because these aren't actually being used. So let's try that again. Find all. Huh. It's not that. Not that. It's not that. We haven't done any of this. Shouldn't have format. We haven't done that. Output result. Nope. What would you like to blink? Nope. Definitely not that. How about this? No, probably not that. Okay, well that's commented out, so it's not that. Where is this lantern? Forward check. This I don't really need to do, so I guess I could actually just do this. Dot equals. Oh, stop it. Dot equals. Sentence dot word. System dot string comparison dot ordinal ignore case. Okay, well that got rid of that one. Word one. Okay. We're gonna come back to that one because I don't. Okay then. Output result. Would you like to? Nope. Output sentence. Nope. Value dot to lower is equal to that's word jumble and word riddle. Those are nothing. So this is actually where we are. Compare words. Find all references. Cool. Not being used, which means it's going away because we don't need it. Huh. I am legitimately curious as to how it's being set to be lower. I know that if I return the original word and not a copy of it, that happens. But I don't remember where it happens. It's so interesting. How do I want to handle that then? I suppose the easiest thing to do is to do this. Let's see, interactive lock, word input, parser, dictionary, check that every word is understood and set it to the TQ. We don't want to do that. Yes, that's all fine. Get synonyms, word, dictionary. That's all fine. Okay. So I guess let's just follow where TQ input goes. Find all references. That's about what I was expecting. Set multiple sentences. Okay, let's find out where the sentence goes. Sentence number type contains dot count. Let's find all references. Count used dot word in a way I did not understand. Contains. No, that's not exactly right. New sentences dot add. Yes, okay. And then from new sentences, we're going to say set joint words peak definition. Let's see. Sentence dot count has pair add sentence. New sentence dot add joint words. Let's just go ahead and check this out for now. Let's see, word dot equals. We do ordinal ignore case. Get joint word. New sentence dot add. Sentence dot remove at. Okay. New sentence dot add. Sentence dot add. New sentence dot add. Okay. Then we're gonna check for obscenities. Check commands. I suppose in this case, we'd be looking for just dot word is equal to something, which I know we already kind of looked for. Oh, well, that's no. You can't. No, no, no. This word is equal to word. That would. Nope and no. There's only one place left, which would be this. This is the only possible way. This that word is equal. That's a string. So no. Um. Hmm. Okay. That's very interesting. I. Really though? There's there's never a point where it's assigned? How find all references. Word is equal to that. What about this? Okay. So that's not being used anymore, which makes sense. Find all references. Word that contains word dot word. Word dot word. Word dot word. Perhaps I should instead look for dot word dot. Let's find all. Okay. So this should give me a list of everywhere that just straight up the word is being called dot to lower. And okay, I'm going to actually let this compile. And I'm going to then play through it. Excuse me. And we're just going to try to take the painting. If I'm correct, then as soon as we do so, it will freak out. Well, not really freak out. It'll all go through just fine. But take will then be lowercase. And I guess to show that this is okay, go all the way down to here to take. Take. You can see that that's there. Go all the way back up to here. Close this. Let's do a new game. Okay. We're going to run up to here. And I'm just going to say take. And take. So it still shows up as a capital T. But let's find out. Take is fine. Ooh. Interesting. Which means, let's try take off. Let's try this again. Let's go down to here. Take, 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 take. Interesting. Is up. So up is still wrong. So why did pick up change it, but take did not? How curious. Well, I'm not sure. How about we do this? Let's update this. Let's go back down to take. I'm sorry, not take, pick. Let's go to pick. Pick, 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 pick. Pick. Okay, so pick is now uppercase. Cool. That's good. Then, go ahead and save this. So pick is uppercase now. It's correct. It's how we want it to look. Let's try pick up again, and let's see if that borks it. If it does, it means that something specific to typing pick up messes with it. If it doesn't, it could have been one of those weird situations where I yawned as I explained what's going on. Where essentially because So I really don't know why this happens, but sometimes when you make a change in your scripts, the some assets can behave as if they didn't have those changes yet, and that can cause some very frustrating problems sometimes. So let's see if this gives us the correct value for our output here. All right, I'm gonna try take, and I'm gonna try pick. Up. Okay, let's pause. Take a look at our dictionary. Let's go to pick. Okay, it's correct now, and take is probably gonna be fine too. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So that was just one of those weird things where um, the script was just behaving like the previous version of it before I edited it. So cool. I think it's actually working now. And we have started running tests, which uh, I honestly don't. Hmm. This is going to be so difficult to write a test case for the parser. Oh, I really should, because that would be so immensely helpful, but I do not know how to approach that. Um, but either way, we can go ahead and move this up now. Close you. Cool. So I think we're going to call it there for the night. It's a little early, but you know, gotta let people go, get all the election coverage and all that, and have their hearts crushed. I'm sure that my night will either be drastically improved or drastically not improved after the dev stream tonight. We'll find out. Either way, so we do have less garbage being generated, a la not casting lists to arrays anymore. We don't need that in the parser anymore. We're also no longer creating duplicate words every time I go through and parse an input. Now we're just getting back the original one. So no new objects are created. That should help reduce memory a little bit. And we also have some minor string comparison optimizations that are being made. So just little bits of optimizations here and there. And really, what I should have done is tested the amount of garbage that was generated before, and then I could have done a side-by-side comparison. That would have been cool. I might actually try to do that by running it on my Mac and seeing what I can get. But that would be pretty nice. So just to have those numbers. Anyway, I think we're gonna leave it there. Oh yes, I guess I should also mention that we started doing unit testing, maybe asterisk, and we'll see how far I can get on that, because it would be really helpful in terms of the parser. But if I can't get anything out of the parser, in the sense that I can't really decouple it from being in play mode, I'm not really sure what we're gonna be able to do. So, at any rate, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, as always, announcements. I might not be streaming on Thursday because there is a local game developer meetup for Unreal developers. And while I do not use Unreal, I would actually like to get a sense of just how many people in Indianapolis do use Unreal and what their projects are like, just because it would be cool to interact with them. And I just want to kind of keep tabs on all the game developers in town. It'd be nice to have a more comprehensive picture of what's going on there. So just keep your ear to the ground. I'll send out an announcement if I end up going to that, because obviously I won't be able to dev stream if I'm not at home. So aside from that, I think that's pretty much the only announcements I had. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.